Well, hi folks, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another little video. And a pretty cold and damp winter morning up in the Pennines. I say morning, it's nearly lunchtime, so start for a little local loop, spin the legs, and I thought as I go around I'd just like to mention what I think is a really critical riding skill. It's so important for all types of riding. It's really intimately linked with safety. He says cycling down the road holding a camera. And in my experience, I think not enough cyclists use this skill or practice this skill. I'd be really interested in your thoughts. But yeah, just rolling down the valley here. Next stop Walston, Tobberden, Hebden Bridge, and then we'll get into the video. Oh god, it's cold today. Showing you all the sights today, the 593. How glamorous. Bit stop-starty today through Hebden. I've got a rather keen Range Rover behind me as well, so maintaining a good pace. Trying to. One of those days when the lights fall against you. Okay, that's us through Hebden Bridge now, heading down towards Mytholmroyd, and this is where my little local loop turn off, get away from the heaviest traffic, and then we'll start climbing up onto the tops. Valley Road hasn't been too bad today, busy-ish, but this is a road I've been cycling since the mid-90s, and my own view, and others may disagree, but I think the drivers are way better now with cyclists on this road than they used to be. I think it's a road that really has sort of local traffic, or most of the drivers, majority of the drivers will know where they are when they're driving down here. Because if you were going kind of further and you weren't hopping into these little, you know, towns on the way, you'd be taking the motorway, I would imagine. So I think, you know, because over the years more and more cyclists have come out onto these roads, I think the drivers have just got used to us, and the vast majority are courteous, and even Mr. Range Rover back there was, you know, just wanting to get past me, but still being pretty accommodating. And I can't say that for all the roads, all the A roads I've cycled on before. So right turn here and relax. Well, apart from the hill. No new routing today, we're just making our way onto the Craigville Road. You'll probably be sick of me mentioning that it's England's longest continuous climb. I'm being a bit lazy today. I fitted my mudguards this morning, so they're on for the first mudguard ride of the year. But I've not fitted them very well, so they're rattling a little bit. It's just pretty cold and damp, so I'm a bit disinclined to stop and sort them out. They're not rubbing on the wheels, so that's the main thing. When we get up onto the tops, I'll check back in and we'll talk about what I think is one of the, if not the riding skill, above all riding skills. Maybe that's too strong a statement, but see what you think. Catch you in a second. Well, even though this is just a short little loop, probably 25 miles or so, it's great to get up onto the tops. And you sort of come out at the top of the valley and you feel like you're on the top, but there's a couple of k's still to go to get up to I suppose where those pylons are up on the horizon. It's cold, it's damp. I think it's going to start raining in a second, but it's still great to get out and get the legs spinning and get some views. A bit monotone in the winter, but always a sight for sore eyes. So anyway, let's talk about this skill, this riding skill that I really think is so critical for improving your general riding ability and also your safety on the bike. I had a quick look before I came out at those kind of essential skills type YouTube videos from some of the bigger channels, and to be fair, this is mentioned in some of the videos but completely ignored in others, and I think that's a real surprise. I was also quite curious to have a look at the bikeability syllabus. For those of you who don't know, that's our kind of government-backed national cycling standards. There's 3 levels, and it's a Hebden Bridge bus. Yeah, bikeability has 3 levels, and this skill is referenced in level 1, so very much regarded as fundamental. I call it a lifesaver, and it's essentially doing a full behind you check on the bike with your eyeballs, not using technology, and keeping the bike in a straight line while you're doing it. Easier said than done. So yeah, it is easier said than done, but it's such a useful little skill to have in your cycling toolkit, I suppose. And you know, aside from the obvious, you can see what's behind you, I find that it really helps what would you say, ride assertively or ride defensively, whatever the correct terminology is, but I've lost count of, I'm just doing it there and clocking the car behind, and again trying to maintain a reasonably straight profile on the road. But yeah, I've lost count of the number of times I've done that full turn and sort of eyeballed the driver behind me and they've been just starting a bit of a dodgy overtake, and I think as a result of, again, what I call this lifesaver, they have second thoughts and they're a bit more patient. And of course that doesn't work every time, but I think it's a really good thing to get into the habit of doing. Even just moving out, let's say here, to avoid that wet patch on the road, doing a lifesaver, as I call it, just gives you that bit of a reassurance that it's extra reassurance that it's safe to do so. And I know there are tech solutions, and I'll be really interested, dear viewer, if you use them, like why, what the reason is. So you can have sometimes little mirrors on your, like your bar ends. I mean, I have seen cyclists with full-on like wing mirrors on their bikes, but that's a side of cycling that even I don't have any experience with. The other couple of things I've seen people use quite a lot actually are these weird little things on their helmets with little mirrors. I say weird, I mean I've never used them, so I can't really comment. And then the sort of bells and whistles tech solution is a rear light with some kind of radar on it that hooks up to your GPS unit and warns you when there's an oncoming car. I'd be really interested if there's anyone watching this that uses any of those options, whether that's your sort of primary check or whether that's almost like your backup, your fail-safe, and you still do that mechanical, whatever you call it, the sort of eyeball check. But yeah, as I said, it's I think it's a fundamental safety skill on the bike, and of course there's all sorts of things in terms of bike skills. There's, using your gears, there's control at slow speeds, there's braking properly, taking a hand off the bars, all that kind of stuff. I know people practice that, and that's all in this bikeability syllabus. Those of you who are kind of my age maybe will remember cycling proficiency, which for me back in the early 80s was just doing wheelies in the playground at school and annoying the instructor. But it's I'm sure it's not perfect, but the kind of national syllabus and assessment criteria these days it's pretty comprehensive. And yeah, that's it's not called a lifesaver, it's just called something like looking behind you. But that really is a fundamental skill in my humble opinion, and one that if you can't do, I'll do another couple here, just glancing behind me. I know there's nothing coming, so I know I'm good to move out at leisure really here. And I've done 4 checks now, and all the while try to maintain a reasonably straight line on the road. And the kind of skill, I suppose, in that, if you're going to practice that, it's to sort of keep your arms bent a little bit, and particularly as you're turning, to bend your right arm a little bit, moving out. And it's a skill that I first practiced, and this term lifesaver came from my old motorcycling instructor back in 1996. So when we were doing that part of the training where we were practicing like slow U-turns on a motorbike, we were introduced to this lifesaver and kind of spent an hour, I remember, sort of practicing it. And it's something that I just do dozens and dozens and dozens of times when I'm out on my bike, and not around the Pennines so much, because a lot of the cyclists you get around these parts I think are quite well experienced, and they're pretty good awareness wise, but certainly back in the day when I was commuting a lot and maybe cycling in more urban built up areas, I used to see loads of cyclists just without any check, like here, just moving out 2-3 feet into the middle of the road with no awareness of what's behind them, like I've just done, but with a check beforehand to make sure it's safe. So I don't know, let me think, do you think that's would you regard that as a fundamental skill? Do you think the technology that you can use, the mirrors, the sort of radar lights, negates having to do that? Do you have the ability to do that? I mean, it takes quite a lot of sort of neck mobility, I would suggest, but I'd be really interested in your thoughts. I really do think it's a fundamental bike skill, and it's a skill that may well save you bacon if you use it. Right, I'm going to stop talking now, and I should have put my gloves on, it's freezing, but just enjoy this descent off Blackstone Edge. Big headwind today, so we're not going fast, but what a great way to start finishing this little lunchtime loop. And if the rain holds off for another short while, we'll be back home enjoying that nice hot cup of tea. I don't know if you'll hear any of this, the wind is howling, but take care of yourselves, stay safe, and happy cycling. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Oh!